Um, so we're going to be using AngularJS as our MVC library to be able to dynamically render content on the client side. Again, AngularJS implements a lot of design patterns that have been around for quite a while, and we're moving. As applications have become larger and larger and have taken on more and more responsibility on the browser side, right? We've had to grab some best practices and design patterns that have been around for quite a while on the server side, and we have applied them now on the client side, right, on the browser side. So let's start and implement one of our first pages using Angular. Okay, so let's close this, and let's open this up. All right, let's see. Let's start this server. And so far, we have in our assignment, you should have been working on the login, the profile, the register, and whatnot. Yes, and we might have a page that looks something like this. For the login page, you might have something like this: login, assignment. We have login, maybe. Okay, you might have something like this, right, for your login page. So let's modify this to be an Angular application, right? Only for this page for now. Right, so let's work on this. So let's see. Let's look at our login page. There it is. It's very simple. It's got the head at the top, the title, the Bootstrap CSS and whatnot. Okay, so let's convert this into an Angular application. So one of the first things that we'll need is to load the Angular library, right? Which I don't believe we have. Let's see, vendor. Oh, looks like we do have it. Okay, we do have AngularJS. So we can load it right here from or we can also link to it to a CDN, right? For now, while we are implementing this throughout the semester, it is okay to link to the local file, right? Like local Bootstrap and local Angular. But at the end of the semester, I will ask you to please change all of them to CDNs, right? So that going forward, you'll be using CDNs as opposed to CSS. And I gave you an example here of using Bootstrap either locally, right? This is linked to the local Bootstrap that lives right here under Bootstrap and dist and CSS Bootstrap, that right there, right? But I will ask you at the end of the semester to comment that out or even remove it and instead replace it with a CDN version. Yes? Right? We talked about this is for performance reasons, right? And it's good practice, right, to use CDNs as opposed to locally hosted libraries. All right, so let's load our other libraries that we'll need. We'll need the Angular library. There it is. And we're going to load it using script. So script is a tag. It's an element. It's a JavaScript. It's a HTML element that allows you to load JavaScript files onto the page. Right, so we're going to, let's go up one. Is vendor there? Yeah, there's vendor. We have Angular. There it is. Do we have anything else? There it is, Angular. So we loaded it, and so what the browser does is that just like over here, once the index page gets loaded, well, the login page in this case, it goes back to the server to fetch these other files. Yes, this AngularJS and this Bootstrap CSS. Bootstrap is used to lay out the page, to render the page, whereas the JavaScript, whatever the content of that JavaScript, it is immediately executed. Right? If that JavaScript has variables that it wants to declare or functions that it wants to declare, it executes and those are declared. And they're available from here on. From this line on, now all the any variables, any global variables, any functions that were declared by that JavaScript are now available. Yes, right? Or any statements that are declared in global space, they will execute. All right, that's very important, right? That when a JavaScript file is downloaded, boom, it gets executed. right? All right, so we have that. There it is. If we load our login page, it still doesn't do anything. If we inspect and put this to the right-hand side, looks like there are no errors. In the console, looks like there are no errors. So let's create this. Let's convert this page into an Angular application. To convert this into an Angular application, we're going to use one of many attributes that are declared by this JavaScript. This one JavaScript declares all sorts of new magical elements and behaviors, right, that were not there. Right? If I comment that out, notice that it's still there somewhere. By declaring Angular, it declares several new attributes that were not there before. Right? For instance, ng controller, ng repeat, they were not there before. Right? These are attributes, right, that are declared by this new library. Right? This new library, right, is very, very powerful. It allows you to create new elements. If you don't like how HTML behaves, if you don't like the way body behaves, or div, the way it behaves, or how h2 behaves, or labels, Angular allows you to redefine their behavior, right? Or even allows you to create brand new elements altogether, right? You can create your own version of HTML. Okay, it's a very powerful library, and including allows you to create any number of new attributes that were not there, right? Including one that is called ngapp. And you can guess what ngapp does, right? It allows you to declare this to be an Angular application. It says, this is an Angular application, and I would like to declare it, the name of this application. Let's call it, I think we refer to the application that we're working on, the WAM application. Is that what we call it? I think so, yeah. So let's give it this name, the WAM app. We're declaring that this page, this login page, is part of an application called WAM app. Right? If we rerun to the page, notice that now we're getting an error. Right? It's saying, okay, well, you declared it, you declared it, but I don't see any declaration of any definition, right? That tells me how this application, or where this application is declared. It's referring to an application that is not defined. Okay, so we need to define that application, right? So let's do that. We're going to do that in our own script. We're going to declare that. So notice that this is not our script, right? This is a script that we are loading from a vendor. Instead, here we're going to create our own, right? And a very common name for our own scripts, or for our own entry point for our application, a very common name is app.js. Right, there it is, app.js. Right now that app.js doesn't exist, so we're probably going to get another error saying that we can't find app.js. So let's declare app.js. According to this, it lives in the same directory as our login page. Right, so let's do that. Let's create this app.js. There's our login page. We'll declare app.js right at the same location. And here we're going to declare our very first Angular application. Right? And our application is going to be called WAM app. Right, so let's do that. We're going to say, and the way we're going to do that is by using a global variable that wasn't there before, right? But it's available now because it was declared by this AngularJS. So AngularJS declares a global variable, and you guessed it, the name of the variable is Angular, right? It's a global object that we can refer to it globally. Right? And one of the things that you can do is declare modules. Modules is a mechanism that Angular uses to be able to define large application into smaller pieces, right, that you can then put together and work together to build larger applications. Right? So module allows you to declare a global module and then many sub-modules that you can break up your application into smaller pieces. Right? So we're going to declare a module called WAM app, okay, which is going to be the module that is being referred to here. Is looking for a module called WAM app. It doesn't find it. There it is. We declared it. Optionally, we can declare any dependencies if this module depends on other modules, right? And very much like Java might use import, right? It might use packages, right? In the same way, right? The Java uses packages and imports to be able to break up a large application into smaller packages. This is the same exact thing, right? It allows you to create packages and then sub-packages, right? So that you can then load dynamically, right? So if we re-render, notice that that original error goes away. Okay, so it has found that there is a module called WAM app, and indeed we have here we have the very simplest Angular application. So simple that it doesn't really do much. Right? Actually, it doesn't do anything. It only declares the module. That's all it does. Right? Everybody okay? Everybody good? Okay. All right. So let's now start actually doing something interesting. Let's see. So this has declared the global space, right? The global module where we're going to be working. We now have to see how we can start using the ideas of model view controller, right? Because all our applications have to be built around this idea, right? The model, the view, and the controller. Okay, and let's do that next.